Hello everyone, I welcome you all in Boost Up Startup Finance. I am Ms. Khan Bansal representing Make My Financials. Led by CFA Rohit and CA Risha, responsible for advisory services, business process management services, and taxation services. So heading on to the topic which we have left over in our previous video, what does a capitalization table looks like? So let's help Zoro with an example. Here are the financials of Alpha Private Limited. We have two founders, A, who invested $5,000 and B invested $5,000. And they have been allotted shares, 5,000 each, totaling up to 10,000 shares. So the ownership percentage comes out to be 1:1. Now, they decided to raise one equity prize round. There, two new investors, C contributing $2,500 and D contributing $2,000 on a pre-money valuation of $100,000. Now, the pre-money valuation is the actual or the market value of the company before the amount, that is $2,500 and $2,000 being invested in the company in this case. So here, before moving ahead, one question arises, are A and B going to give their portion of shares to C and D? Are they offering their shares for sale to C and D? If yes, then A and B will draw back the amount or withdraw the amount invested. That's why new investor tends to invest with a condition that the money to be invested is to hold in the company only for the operations of your future investments or for any other operation. Then the company issues new shares to the investors. So now, prepping up a cap table. Cap table has its x-axis and its y-axis. X-axis includes the members and their contributions. Y-axis includes the number of rounds. Now, we will calculate a value per share so as to calculate the new shares which are going to be allocated to C and D. Value per share is the ratio of total valuation by total number of shares. Total valuation was $100,000. When divided by total number of shares, that is $10,000, we'll get the value per share as $10 per share. Now, C invested $2,500 and the value of per share is $10. So therefore, the number of shares to be allocated are to be calculated by total investment made divided by value per share. That is, total investment made by C was $2,500 divided by $10 comes out to be 250 shares. And similar calculation with D brings out 200 shares to be allocated to D. And A and B remains at some same number of shares. Therefore, now totaling up to 10,450 shares. Now, a similar calculation we have done with the D, A, and B by dividing the respective number of shares allocated with the new total number of shares, we will be getting the whole ownership structure of Alpha Private Limited. And this is what we call dilution as on date, implying the dilution of the ownership percentage of the previous investors when new equity price round is executed. Therefore, the pre-money valuation was $100,000. New investment made was $2,500 by C and $2,000 by D. That is $4,500. Therefore, the post-money valuation, that is investment being adding on to the company, brings out $1,04,500. But there is another way of dilution, followed by issuing compulsory convertible notes and simple agreements for future equity, which we call SAFE. They are being issued today, but the ownership is being offered at some later stage or circumstances which trigger the conversion. So first, convertible notes. These are the debt instruments which come under the liability side of the balance sheet. They are issued with a fixed interest rate along with a maturity date for conversion into equity. This includes long and complex documentations with some required fees. On the other hand, SAFE is issued with the same intent of getting transferred into equity later, but at present, it is neither considered as debt nor as equity instrument. Interest gets accrued and is altogether converted into equity, and it brings no complexity and no charges as such. So we will be discussing SAFE further in our next videos for solving out more complex cap table case studies. So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the valuable content.